And from the national headquarters of RT America here in our nation's capital, I am happy to say hello again, everybody. I'm Rick Sanchez. So tonight, I want to acquaint you with a word that you may not be aware of that may have, key here, may have a lot to do with Russiagate and the whole Russia investigation. The word, you probably know it, and if you don't, I'll explain it to you. It's stovepiping. Stovepiping. So what does it mean? Well, think of it as an actual stovepipe where you want to send something through a long corridor just to get it out, right? To get the smoke out. Like smoke. But instead of smoke, what you want to do in this case is use the stovepipe to get out information, you know, through a difficult mess. Just enough information to get people talking about whatever that is you want to get out. Or maybe even trigger an investigation, right? Here, let me give you an example. The best example of stovepiping was conducted by that guy right there. That's President, oops, did I say president? I meant Vice President Dick Cheney. He wanted to invade Iraq, but he had no actionable evidence to do so. So he literally made it up. He stovepiped a false story to the New York Times about Saddam Hussein trying to get some yellow cake, remember? Yellow cake uranium from Africa, Niger, right? To try and make a nuclear bomb. It was all BS. It was all BS. And he probably knew it. But once the New York Times wrote it up, right? Once that information got through the stovepipe to the New York Times, they wrote a story. He could then send the president out to say these infamous 16 words.
The British government has learned that Saddam Hussein recently sought significant quantities of uranium from Africa.
From Africa. And with that, the countdown to the invasion of Iraq was on. Well, now it's starting to appear that the same thing may have happened with Russiagate. This time, though, it wasn't yellow cake. The yellow cake leak was replaced with a Steele dossier, a scurrilous intel report that turned into news catnip for reporters. Really, like catnip, right? Have you ever seen cats around catnip? It makes them crazy, right? It literally made reporters crazy with this Russiagate fever. Most credible reporters, by the way, never bought this. They never bought into Russiagate. You might say they never took the stovepipe. Unfortunately, though, for most cable news consumers who watch something other than, for example, this show, they never got to hear from those reporters. Because those reporters are not interviewed by the corporate news networks. So instead, most of those viewers got a healthy dose of something every day for like 2.5 years, akin to this.
It was an unprecedented cyber attack ordered by senior Russian leadership.
The Russians attacked our electoral system.
Russia meddling in the election.
Russia's election meddling.
The Russian government was behind the email hack into the Democratic National Committee.
Russia hacked the election. They tried to interfere.
The Russian attack on our election.
Russia, Russia, Russia. In fact, most real reporters are now saying that it's maybe the media frenzy surrounding Russiagate and the Mueller report may have been the best thing that ever happened to Mr. Trump. Award-winning journalists like Matt Taibbi, for example, Chris Hedges, suggest that the media craze surrounding Mr. Trump was capriciously targeted or picked the one thing that he actually didn't do.
The danger of it, their failure to, cheerleading Bush's invasion of Iraq, the danger is that now when they say anything about Trump, nobody will believe them.
Right.
And they should have been focusing, instead of on this, smoke and mirrors, they should have been focusing on the real crimes that Trump has been carrying out, and they are real. There are many egregious acts carried out by this administration that were never reported, or never reported in the way they should have been reported, because they were spinning these fantasies about Putin and Russia.
Nobody like Chris Hedges. And guess what? He's going to join us right here on The News with Rick Sanchez to talk about the Mueller probe, where we do believe it's time to do news again. I'm Rick Sanchez. You found us on YouTube, and that's awesome. But you know what? I'm also live every night at 7 and 8 p.m. Eastern on DirecTV and Dish and cable and satellite, the RT app, and Pluto TV. I'll see you there.